What's going on, you guys? Coaster here, just talking about the game. First of all, I'll say good win. It's just a good win for now. I know the scoreboard looks a little deceiving. I'll get into that. First of all, the thing I need to point out some of the negatives of second half offense play calling. Really conservative, and they did it too early. It reminds me of some of those teams of the past where they would sit on it and they didn't know how to play with the lead. Uh, Very conservative. I was annoyed by that. I mean, Musgrave called it, but Jack Del Rio also approves those calls. So it's not all Musgrave for people who want to blame it. I didn't like the idea of just sitting on it in the third quarter. I mean, I think some teams would have scored on the Raiders there. But it is what it is. The Raiders, I know, a win is a win. The other thing I just want to point out, they couldn't run the ball too well. That's an issue, but they did get a couple big plays when they needed to. But, okay, the many positives. The first one, Sebastian Janikowski. Mainly because he made sure that it was a three-score game in the fourth quarter. When they went up 17, usually 17 is the magic number in football because that's a three-possession game. So when they kicked the field goal to go up by 17, I can breathe and relax. He had to kick, I think, a 52-yarder to do it. So you go 4 for 4. Usually nobody talks about the kicker when the kicker does his job, so I do got to give props there. The other thing I got to give credit to, the one play by Derek Carr. He threw the ball right before halftime. That throw to Michael Crabtree, maybe that just took out the Jaguars. I mean, the offense was settling for field goals most of the game, and that play to Crabtree might have demoralized them. You just call a little slant. Not exactly like how the Super Bowl was, but that one slant play, but it worked, and they obviously got the score to go up 20-6 rather than 13-6. Big difference. But yeah, they were settling for field goals in the second half. Wasn't happy about that. Of course, Marquette King, we got to give him credit with the wheels in that 4th and 24. He just runs for it. That was amazing. One of those silly broken plays, but it took that to wake up the offense in the second half. I didn't like what I saw. The whole second half, they were just kind of sleepwalking because, oh, okay, the Jaguars, they're incompetent. I do got to give credit to the defense as well. Of course, we don't know how good the defense really is. This was a bad Jaguars team. You can't sugarcoat it any way or not. Blake Bortles was terrible today. He made that interception he threw was dumb. Okay, yeah, that was forced coverage. Whatever they were trying to do, that was a brain fart. He had no business throwing there. The Raiders' defense really wasn't tested, but nope, they did their job statistically. I got to give some credit where it's due. I just don't know how good their defense is or not. The Jaguars were just really incompetent today, and it was summed up by that double flag by, I think it was Malik Jackson. There's that double flag he got, the 30-yard penalty. There were 2 penalties for 30 yards. So the Raiders took care of business. Jack Del Rio goes into Jacksonville, beats his old team. I think Gus Bradley is going to be getting the walking papers anytime now. That guy, he doesn't look like he's going to take him over the hump anytime soon. Jacksonville, somewhat of a mess, still a mess, and their offense has been inept coming into this game, even though they won 2 straight. So, the Raiders pretty much hang on. I didn't like that they sat on it, but it is what it is. There was that one, but Carr made the plays he needed to, right? See, I'm talking about Derek Carr, guys. He didn't make any big mistakes, and that was the important part. Maybe he was bailed out, but it does help to have a healthy offensive line. They had 8 linemen dressed up for this game, so it was good to see the linemen were available. There was better depth there because we all know what happens when your offensive line is hurt and injured. It gets a little uglier. So, they're going to have to work on running the ball. The defense is going to have to be tested next week when we see Tampa Bay. Yeah, I think Tampa Bay was putting up some silly numbers. I mean, granted, the team they were playing wasn't very good, but you just can't write these guys off, okay? Tampa Bay should be a tougher challenge than what we saw today in Jacksonville. So, the Raiders win. They took care of business. I will take it and somewhat smile about this game. But I did not like the conservative play calling in the third quarter because some teams would have came back from that, and I know Blake Bortles just sucks. That's all I've learned. And also, this game should settle any debate with Derek Carr versus Bortles. A lot of people have been high on Bortles in the past, and I didn't see it. I still have yet to see it. I mean, during the year the Raiders took Carr, and Jacksonville took Bortles, I thought, I didn't want to take any quarterback in the first round unless it was like 22nd overall or 25th overall. You draft way later. I thought there were many great players available for the top 10, and a quarterback wasn't one of them. So, and back then, remember that the Raiders, we were thinking either Sammy Watkins or Khalil Mack might be available depending on how things go. Well, when Jacksonville took Blake Bortles, that opened the door for either Watkins or Mack. The Raiders were going to get either one of them. And Jacksonville took Blake Bortles right in front of Khalil Mack, and so did Buffalo traded up to get Sammy Watkins. So that made the Raiders' decision a lot easier. It comes to show you, tanking for a draft pick doesn't guarantee you anything. So, yeah, really, you got to thank Jacksonville for making sure the Raiders got Khalil Mack. We should really thank Jacksonville for all the things they've done. So, thanks, Jacksonville. Your uniforms are terrible, and those two-tone helmets, awful to watch. But, I haven't seen this game from beginning to end. I'm out of the market once again. I couldn't see it. So, let me know what you all thought about this game. A win is a win. They played all right, but it's also Jacksonville. So, we'll see you guys later. Go Raiders.